Alright, so these are my week 22 NBA power rankings. We're so close to the end of the regular season. Let's get started here. Starting off with our injuries, not a whole lot to mention about new injuries, but we do get LeBron James back from injury and Anthony Davis back from injury, so those are certainly good. Anything else here, you can look at yourself. Moving on from there is our top performances. Again, you can look at this yourself. I don't want to take too much of your time here. But moving on from there, we got the Washington Wizards here at number 30. They went 0-4 this week, so they do fall back to number 30 from where they were at 29. They lost to the Jazz, who were at number 30, so kind of had a flip-flop from there. But moving on there, we got the Utah Jazz. Kind of already spoiled that, but they won one game this week against the Washington Wizards, so I feel like they should swap with them. But again, they're not very good. They lost to the Celtics and Cavs this week, so pretty tough schedule, outside of Washington. But again, the Jazz are not very good. 28, we got the 76ers. They went 0-4 this week. They're pretty bad. Lost to the Thunder, the Spurs, the Hawks, and the Pelicans. None of those are obviously the Thunder are great, but the Spurs, Hawks, and Pelicans, none of those are great teams. So you would think they could maybe get one win there, but obviously going winless in a week, never a good thing. Shoot, my bad. 27, you got the Nets. They also went 0-4, so they do drop one spot here. The Nets played the Celtics, Pacers twice, and the Dallas Mavericks with Anthony Davis, so not really too upset about them going winless, but again, never a good thing to go winless, although obviously they're probably trying to tank at this point, so losing games is probably a good thing. Number 26 is going to be the Charlotte Hornets. They do move up one spot here. They went 1-3 this week, so they won a game, right, when some of these teams right below them did not win a game this week, so that's why they do move up just one spot here. They beat the Knicks, who are a pretty good team. I mean, they don't have Jalen Brunson, but they're still, it's still a good win for the Hornets. Moving on from there, we got the Toronto Raptors. They're 25 now. So they were 22 a week ago. Now they dropped to 25. They went 1-2 this week. Not great. The only win was against the Washington Wizards, who are a pretty bad team. Obviously, they lost to the Warriors and the Spurs there as well. 24, we got the New Orleans Pelicans, who are 20-53 right now. Still a 14 seed in the West, but they do look a lot better than some of these Eastern Conference teams, in my opinion. They went 2-2 this week, which is solid. Beat the Timberwolves and the Sixers, then lost to the Timberwolves as well, and lost to the Detroit Pistons. Number 23, San Antonio Spurs. They had a they had a 3-0 week, so undefeated week here for San Antonio, but I really couldn't up them any spots, mostly because still overall they're not looking very good. They played the Knicks, Sixers, and Raptors this week, who none of those teams are great because the Knicks, again, without Jalen Brunson, and then two bad teams there in the Sixers and Raptors. 22 is the Dallas Mavericks, so they do move up two spots here. They went 2-1, which is solid, and they got Anthony Davis back from injury, which I really don't agree with because although they are very much in contention for a play-in spot, they're not making it out of the play-in even if they get in there. So I feel like it would make more sense just to shut Anthony Davis down and not have to risk any further injury to him. But they brought him back. He played decent in his first game, and they did beat the Brooklyn Nets in his first game back. Number 21, Miami Heat. They're 1-2, but I really didn't feel like I could drop them. Mostly because I still feel like they're better than the Dallas Mavericks at this point, in my opinion. They also played good teams. They lost to the Rockets and Pistons in two close games. They lost by a combined 7 points, and then they did beat the Charlotte Hornets. Number 20, Portland Trail Blazers. So they went 2-1 this week, so they got 32-40. They were in the Eastern Conference. They were very much fighting for a play-in spot, which is kind of wild to think about. They beat the Grizzlies and Nuggets this week, and they lost to the Boston Celtics. 19 is the Sacramento Kings. They went 1-3 this week, so they do drop 3 spots here. Now sitting at a 9 seed. They beat the Cavs, but then they lost to the Bulls, the Bucks, and the Celtics. Number 18 is the Chicago Bulls. So, like I just said, they beat the Sacramento Kings, and they also had a 3-1 week. So, pretty good week here for Chicago. They beat the Kings. They beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. That was last week. My bad. They beat the Lakers, the Nuggets, the Kings, and they lost to the Suns. Next up is the Orlando Magic. They went 2-1 this week, sitting at an 8 seed currently. I don't really think they're going to drop below an 8 seed, but again, we'll look at the standings here at the end of the video. but they beat the Wizards and Lakers, and they lost to the Houston Rockets. Number 16, the Atlanta Hawks. So they move up 3 spots here. 3-0 week, really good for them. Beat the Hornets, Warriors, and 76ers this week. Number 15, we got the Detroit Pistons. They're going to drop just 1 spot here after having a 2-1 week. They lost to the Dallas Mavericks. They beat the Heat, and they beat the Pelicans. Number 14, we have the New York Knicks. They dropped 3 spots. They went 1-2 this week. They desperately need Jalen Brunson back. Still sitting at a 3 seed, and I don't really think they're going to drop anywhere below a 4 seed at the very least. So as long as they can stay in a top 4 seed without Jalen Brunson, that's going to be probably good for them. But really need him back before the playoffs. They lost to the Hornets and Spurs this week and only beat the Washington Wizards. Number 13, Milwaukee Bucks. So they dropped 1 spot. They're having a 2-2 week of their own, 40-31 right now. They fell to a 5 seed. They were a 4 seed, I believe, just a week ago. They lost to the Warriors and the Suns and beat the Lakers and Kings. Number 12 is going to be the Suns. So they went 3-0 this week, and they just beat the Milwaukee Bucks, like I mentioned. They also beat the Chicago Bulls and the Cleveland Cavaliers. So 3 pretty good wins there against all teams that are at least in the play-in, and 2 teams that are easily in the playoff hunt. So the Suns did officially move up to a 10 seed right now over the Dallas Mavericks. Still a very close battle to watch there, though. Number 11, Memphis Grizzlies. They went 0-2 this week, dropping just 2 spots. So they got a 5 seed right now. Certainly not bad. They lost to the Blazers and the Clippers this week. Number 10, Minnesota Timberwolves. They dropped 3 spots. They went 1-2 this week. Not a great week, but then they lost to the Pelicans, and they ended up beating the Pelicans next day. But they also lost to the Indiana Pacers this week. Number 9, we got the Los Angeles Lakers. They only dropped 1 spot, even though they did go 1-3. But they did get LeBron James back from injury. Although he did play 2 games this week and they lost both of them, I think obviously it's going to be better for them going forward to have LeBron James back, and they're probably going to get back up to, a positive week next week if I had to guess. They beat the Nuggets, but they lost to the Bucks, Bulls, and the Magic. Number 8 is the Indiana Pacers. They jump up 5 spots after having a 4-0 week, finding themselves at the number 4 seed now, where I believe they were number 5 just a week ago. They beat the Mavericks, the Nets twice, and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Number 7 is going to be the Los Angeles Clippers. They're going to stay, they jump up 3 spots after having a 2-1 week. The only loss was against the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they beat 2 really good teams in the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Memphis Grizzlies. Number 6 is the Denver Nuggets. They went 1-3 this week. Not great, but they have been without Nikola Jokic all week long, and he's supposed to be back this week, so that's why I didn't drop him here too much, just 1 spot. Lost to the Lakers, Blazers, and Bulls, and beat the Houston Rockets. Number 5, we have the Golden State Warriors. They had a 2-1 week, jumping up just 1 spot there above the Denver Nuggets. They lost to the Hawks this week, but they beat the Bucks and the Raptors. Number 4 is going to be the Houston Rockets, staying at the exact same spot. They went 2-1 this week. Still sitting at a 2 spot here in the Western Conference. Beat the Magic and Heat and lost to the Denver Nuggets. Number 3 is going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers, dropping 2 spots. They went 1-3 this week. Not great, but again, still the second best record in the league, best record in the East, so I couldn't drop them too much here. They lost to the Clippers, Kings, and Suns, and they beat the Utah Jazz. Number 2, we have the Boston Celtics. They had a 4-0 week. They're going to jump up just 1 spot above the Cavaliers here. They beat the Nets, the Jazz, the Blazers, and the Kings this week. And number 1 is going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder. They now have the best record in the entire league, with Cleveland, having a pretty bad week themselves. And the Thunder beat the Sixers, the Hornets, and the Clippers this week. So now looking here at the award races, I'll get out of the way. But I'll go over the leaders of each of these categories. Shea at MVP, Stephon Castle, Rookie of the Year, Cade Cunningham, Most Improved, Peyton Pritchard, 6th Man of the Year, Jalen Brunson, Clutch Player of the Year, Kenny Atkinson, Coach of the Year, and Draymond Green is now leading Defensive Player of the Year. But I'm going to go into our NBA standings. Just give me a second here. All right, so it might be a little bit blurry for you guys, but if you can't tell, I'll go over some of the stuff here. Cavs look at a lock at 1. Celtics pretty much locked at 2. Knicks got a couple game lead over the Pacers. We have a couple game lead over the Bucks. But the Bucks and Pistons are only half a game separated, so it's a pretty tough matchup there at 5 and 6 to look at. The Hawks only 1.5 games above the Magic, who are 2 games above the Bulls. who are 2 games above the Heat. So all those 7 to 10 spots, they have a couple games separating them, but certainly nothing is set in stone as it is right now. And the Heat are pretty much secured at least a 10 seed. Now, in the Western Conference, with the Oklahoma City Thunder locked up the 1 seed already. The Rockets are sitting at the 2 seed, but there's only like a 5-game difference between the 2 seed and the 8 seed, so a lot of stuff can happen between anyone between 2 and 8 there. And then the Kings looking good at the 9 spot. They're only half a game above Phoenix and half a game above Dallas as well. So really, anywhere from 9 to 10 can very much be flip-flopped throughout the last couple of weeks of this season. And obviously, that's a pretty big factor there, because if you fall down to 11, you're obviously not in the playoffs. But that's going to be it for the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check back next week for an updated power rankings list, and goodbye.